Hey everyone, welcome to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Oberemt. This is the podcast where the only requirement to be a guest is that you are being authentic to who you are. If you're not, I'll shut it down and I'll ask you to leave. Remember, be authentic or get the fuck out. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Oberemt. The way that we're doing it on every podcast, sponsored by D&M Roofing and Siding, because they fucking pay for everything. And Roofers in Recovery, they don't pay for anything, but we pay them a lot of money because we care about Roofers in Recovery. So on this episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out, we have invited back our good friend, Phil Sanov. Phil, thanks for being here.
Welcome back. Thank you for coming to Houston. Happy to be here.
Super glad you're here. Super glad I'm here. I guess you're not here. You're already here.
Although I'm not here that much these days.
True.
I guess we'll talk about that.
True. Yeah, you're probably here about as much as I am.
Yes, sir.
But so we've done the show before, and we've done an interview, and you've got to tell your story. But I knew that I would be remiss if I came down to Houston and we didn't get to spend time together and we didn't get to do another episode together.
Great.
So we were going back and forth and we were thinking, and we both kind of decided it would be fun if we made this podcast into kind of like a dual interview.
Love it.
Right?
Love it.
You wanted to talk about me. I want to talk about you. So why don't we just do that together? And so we're just going to, for the audience here, like we are just going to start asking questions and see where it riffs.
Ah, okay.
Right?
Okay. Excellent.
I love it. I think it sounds like a fun idea. Lexi, are you good with that? I'm good. Okay.
I love it. When I get some time to spend with you, I think, as I say, a wise man once told me that we are the product of the people we spend time with.
Yep.
I think you were that wise man.
Well, someone else said that and then I stole it from
You
them.
stole it
Yes,
and it worked.
100%. Yeah.
And so I'm just glad get some time.
Yeah.
You know, we're in the same city at the same time.
Yep.
And if that turns into you and I sit down and try to put some of it on film,
Yeah.
I want to find out, talk about you. You want to talk about
Yeah.
me. It's how we always work.
That's when fun stuff comes out.
Fabulous.
Anyway,
Fabulous.
right?
Right.
Okay, so let's get started with that.
Okay.
This is fun. Okay, so here, I'm going to give you those
I get one of these.
You
Right.
get one. You
Right,
can get
right.
here. You take them both and you start because I know you really want to start.
Okay. Tell me about someone that changed your life.
Tell me about someone that changed my life. I mean, the obvious answer.
Right.
The obvious answer is my grandfather.
And I really wanted to, I don't want to take that away from you.
Yeah.
Because I love the story of you and your grandpa. I almost, as I was reading that, I almost said, and God
Except-
bless you folks, if you haven't heard that story, go
Right.
watch some of Eric's prior podcasts and find it. But tell us about someone that changed your life other than your grandpa. If that's not disrespectful.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I was thinking the same thing.
Okay.
You know, I was thinking the same thing because it's not fair. Oh, well, here we go. I would say my first sponsor after I got sober.
Nice.
And we don't really communicate much anymore. Random text here and there. And it's funny because we're both in the roofing industry.
Really?
Yep.
Where is that person?
I don't know where he lives.
Wow. Okay.
I think he's still got a house in Omaha.
Okay.
But he travels
But
a
he
lot.
may be somewhere. Okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
he travels a lot. And we have a ton of mutual friends and whatever. But after I got out of treatment,
And that was when?
2010,
Okay.
December of 2009.
Okay.
Yeah. After I got out of treatment, I came home, and I've told this part of the story before, but after I came home, I was at my house, and the guys that I used to run with, that I used to drink and do coke with and sell and all that kind of shit, came over to my house and said, "Hey, what are you going to do?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What am I going to do?" And they're like, "Well, are you coming back out with us, or are you going to do this shit?"
Right.
And I was like, honestly, I don't know. I go, but I think I owe it to myself to try it for 30 days.
Try it for 30 days, staying straight.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. And if it goes well, then maybe that's the route I'll go. If it doesn't, fuck it. I'll be back with you guys in no time.
Wow.
Right. And
That is crazy.
so I said, give me 30 days. And they looked at me, and one of my friends at that time, he looked at me and he's like, all right, I respect that. He goes, if you're going to do that, he goes, there's a guy that used to run with us that got sober. He's been sober for about 1.5 years. You should meet him then. And he was like a year younger than me, maybe is all, but he had about 1.5 years of sobriety. And so the guys that I ran and sold drugs with and drank with every night introduced me to my first real sponsor, who definitely saved my life.
Wow.
And if I wouldn't have met him, they say in recovery that when you look for a sponsor, you look for somebody and you say, I want what they have.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And that's when you're sitting in a room and you're looking around, you're like, I want what they have. And he had what I wanted, which was he was social. He was able to go out. He was able to talk to people, meet people, hang out at a restaurant, hang out at a bar, because in my mind, like, I still needed to be at a bar.
Okay.
Because I was 30 years old.
Got it.
Single, like, what am I going to do? Like, am I going to go meet somebody in AA? Like, that's a terrible fucking idea, in case you're wondering.
Okay.
And so I didn't know what to do.
It's funny that you bring that up, and I want to hear the rest of the story.
Yep.
But my wife asked me. My wife is excited to meet you this evening because she knows how much I love you. And
she's going to be so disappointed
that you were excited to meet her. You won't be disappointed.
Right.
She won't
No,
either.
I won't
She
be.
won't either. But she said, now, does he drink? I know people that do recovery different. Do we go to a restaurant where they don't have a bar, where there's no alcohol?
Yeah.
And I said, he doesn't drink. I believe that his sobriety is sober, but he's social enough. I mean, I've been to Perry's with him every month where we do the CRA.
Yeah.
So I think that part is cool. So it's interesting that my wifey and I had this conversation earlier today. Okay, keep telling the story.
No,
I don't want
because that's a real thing, though. Like, because there's people, though, that can't go to a bar.
Okay.
Right? Like, that is a very real thing because it's just such a trigger for them. For me, in the beginning, like, I wanted to learn how to function.
Got it.
Like that.
You wanted what he had. And he had that.
And they tell you it's a bad idea.
Got it.
Like, you're at rehab, they're like, don't go to a fucking bar. You're going to drink at a fucking bar. And it's
What
like,
do you do at bars?
obviously. But like, I was the guy that, like, I was like, well, I got to go and find out. Right. I came home. I don't think I've told this part of the story. I came home from treatment and I knew I was going to jail. Right. I knew because I hadn't got sentenced yet.
Okay.
So I knew, but I didn't know for how long.
Okay.
Right. But when I decided to quit, and before I went to treatment, I left an 8-ball of cocaine in my side dresser on purpose.
I was just about to say that had to be on purpose.
Yeah, because nobody leaves cocaine. Like, you do it. Like, that's the old joke. Like, does cocaine ever go bad? No one knows. Like, it's impossible to know that.
No expiration.
No. Well, no one's ever found out. No one's ever found out. Yeah. So, but I left it there. And I left it in my side table until I went to jail, because I knew that when I went to jail, I'd hopefully get house arrest at some point, and that the house arrest people would take me back to the house and potentially search my home. So I knew that I had to get it out before I went to jail. So I left it in my house for like 3 months until I went to court, just to test myself, to fuck with myself.
What, you're back from rehab?
Yep.
For 3 months.
Yep.
Cocaine in your side table.
Correct.
On purpose.
Yep.
I got to see if I can do it. I got to see if I can do it.
Yep. I don't think I've ever told that part of the story.
Well, I've never heard it.
Yeah.
I've never heard
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I haven't heard all your stories, but I certainly
there.
haven't heard that.
Uh-huh.
I've heard the jail burritos. Love that story.
Yep. But no, so I left it there, and God, one other part of that story. Fuck. So that same side table.
I knew this was a good idea.
It was. This same side table, I remember when I was still actively drinking and using, I had one of my regular after hours parties that would go till 4, 5, 6, 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever, right? And random people in my house, have no idea who was like in what rooms, in my bedroom, like no idea who the fuck was where. I remember I woke up, and this was right before I went to rehab.
Okay.
I woke up and I opened up my drawer, same drawer that I hid the cocaine in for 3.5, 4 months. And I had a Tupperware deal, right? And you put your change in it.
Okay.
Right.
Sure.
So I had all my change in this Tupperware deal. And I remember digging through it for some reason. And I found a 13-year AA chip.
Somebody's.
I have no fucking idea to this day.
Okay.
Like, nobody walked into my drug-infested house and, like, slipped a fucking AA coin
Right.
in my drawer. Right? Like, how weird is that?
That's crazy.
Like, that's a weird God thing. Like, I don't know what it is, but like, that's some
You said
weird,
it.
that's
It's a
some
God
weird
thing,
God
yeah.
thing. I to this day, I have no idea how it got there. So, but back to the point of the question of the story. So I hid that in there. And then again, I was introduced to, his name was Jeremy.
Okay.
His name was Jeremy. And I wanted what he had. And he literally took me under his wing. I was this fat 300-pound kid
I've seen
fresh
the
out of
pictures.
rehab.
I can't believe
right?
them. Right.
Fat 300-pound guy out of rehab, 30 years old, freshly divorced, depressed, still upset with life in general,
Right.
hated it, whatever. And he took me out every night I wanted to go out and spend time with people and introduce me to other people and to his friends. And like, he got me out because I didn't meet him until maybe my fourth or fifth month sober. And I had been hiding in my house because I was afraid to go out and talk to people.
But if he's with you, he changed your life. You got what he had. He took you and showed you this is how and what you do.
Yeah,
type
I
thing.
100% would not have made it that first few years without him.
Wow.
Which is why I take it as serious as I do when I'm trying to help somebody, because I know what that first 2 years is like.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck you're at, Workman, but yeah.
So that was my next question to you. Do you have mentees? Are you now that person for other people? I mean, you and I have never talked about that piece of it.
I sponsor a couple of guys. I have to be really careful because I'm gone so much, right? That I don't want to promise somebody a lot of time and then I can't give it to them and I let them down.
Got it.
And
I see. Sure.
So that makes it hard. But there's guys like Paul though, like he helps a lot of people too. And he's never fucking home.
Right.
And he does a lot of Zoom calls and whatever. But again, that's another thing too, where his kids are old, right? His kids are gone. So
that's such
the time thing is different, right? Because I want to help as many people as I can, but Tegan's going to come first.
That's always got to come first.
Right. But if I don't help people though, I don't get to keep Tegan. So there's got to be, right? Like I have to give back what was so freely given to me, because if I don't get to keep it.
You got to put some meat on those bones. If I don't give back, I don't get to keep Tegan. Help me with that.
If I don't give back the help in sobriety that was so freely given to me, there is a very large chance that I could lose everything that I have.
Got it.
Right? So
that part I get. I just wanted to have you verbalize it.
But because I know, I say Tegan comes first, right? My family comes first. Natalie comes first before that, but they don't because if I don't do that, and I think that's hard for them to understand, right? And I've talked to them about it, and they nod their head and they say, "No, I get it. I understand." I don't think that they really do, right? Because there's no way to really understand that if you're not in the same situation that that I am.
I hope we're able to talk about this piece a little bit with Wifey tonight. Eric and Wifey are going to meet this evening because on that piece of it, because it's true, Tiffany comes first, Allie comes first, my mom comes first, except for me to be who I am and for us to have what we have and live the life that we have, I've got to be in trial week after week, not at home. I've got to be here, there, doing this with the cases. And so Tiffany said it to me and it just crushed me. And she and I haven't talked about this. Sorry, baby. The other day, she said, I know, because we're having some challenges with some health, mind, body, spirit health of some family members that are very close. And for us to have the lifestyle we have and for Tiffany to be able to be the primary caretaker for these people, I have to be on the road keeping the lights on, keeping the doors open.
I get it.
And so she really gets it. When she said it out loud and it crushed me. I know you have to travel. I know the work has to come first. And it just crushed me.
Yeah.
But that's kind of, I relate it to, and she and I haven't talked about it again,
Right.
but I related that when you said not sure that Tegan gets it, Tegan's too young to get it,
Correct.
of course.
Yeah.
But it's crushing but empowering how Tiffy does get it.
Yeah.
And so that's something, that's a topic for us.
Which is nice. And what it makes me think of though is what we've talked about a lot here though, is that I still don't believe that it's the amount of time that you spend. Mm-hmm. I think it's the quality of time that you spend, right? People remember the moments and appreciate the moments in time that you're spending together because you're present when you're there. Not, oh, he was here for 3 weeks. If I'm home for 2 weeks, Natalie wants to fucking kill me.
I get it.
Like and you can ask her, like she can watch this. I don't even know if she watches my shit anymore, but like you can ask her. And I guarantee if I am home for more than 2 weeks now, she's like, you are fucking up my schedule. Like, could you go somewhere?
Right.
Like, it was nice having you around for a couple weeks. We all ate dinner together, but like, you need to go.
Yeah,
go do you.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, get the fuck out. Exactly. Yes.
Right.
She's like, get the fuck out and go do you for a few days.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to be gone for more than like 3 days at a time. Like, that's my kind of my limit. When I was doing some conferences and it was a week, I was like, oh, fuck you. Like, I'm done. I can't. It's too long to be away, like now.
Yeah, Tiffy and I had a nice rhythm where I would be gone a few days at a conference, at a meeting, come back. But now it's the courts are opening back up and they're so backlogged and we are who we are. Slammed. I am who I am. Yeah. And I finished a trial in Fort Myers, Florida. I drive in the rental car to Bartow, Florida.
How long are your trials going to be in Florida?
Week.
No, but I mean, like,
years.
Then fucking move.
Well, and but we've got her grandmother here. We've got my mom here.
Yeah, okay. Well, move them. Yeah. You're rich.
Well, and here's the thing. It's funny. My one of my great friends who lives in Florida says, just get a condo, you'll be fine. Where though? I have 1 week I'm in Fort Myers, Florida. The next week I'm in Bartow, Florida. This week I'm in Fort Lauderdale.
And they're not
the week
close.
after that I'm in Daytona Beach. One condo. I mean, I make a nice living.
Right.
I'm grateful for my life.
Yeah.
I can't have a condo in every Florida town that I'm in.
Yeah. That is frustrating. And they last a long time.
Yeah. And so I rent a big SUV and I take 2 giant suitcases with me and I get extra boxes of trial supplies and I am my own trial mobile. I just go from place to place. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's real crazy. It's wonderful. It's glorious. It's a nice life.
Yeah.
But we, at the same time, it crushes you, but it's also so glorious.
Yep.
When wifey knows that the work doesn't come first, but she understands how the life we lead at this point in our lives. When Natalie was little, I couldn't have done it. Yeah. It's like you were saying.
Right. Yeah, it totally changes the dynamic. Right. Yeah, okay. Right. Did I answer your question?
Yes, I want to expand a little bit more on that. Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay.
I can see
I'm just making sure.
I can, because you talked about Jeremy. I figured out it's Jeremy Workman.
Yeah, I would be. I would definitely be dead. Definitely not sober if I wouldn't have met Jer.
Wow. Okay.
I know that's a fact.
You seem like you're anxious to ask me a question.
Oh,
now.
I mean, I'm always anxious to ask you a question. But this is just fun because I haven't read all of these.
I'd like to ask you another question, although it's my calling question for tomorrow. And so I know this isn't going to air before then, so I've got one calling question I'm holding. Well, but I don't want to. I'm going to hold it till tomorrow when you're live. All right,
you hold it.
When you're live with Pate, I'm going to hold that one.
Okay, let's go fun now.
Okay, fun's good.
This isn't deep. What would you pick for your last meal?
Wow. Wow. I would get wifey to make me her vegan meatballs and rice. So when I was a kid, yes, I know it's crazy. When I was a kid growing up, for your birthday every year, like all families, what do you want for dinner? It's your birthday. Right. We're going to make your dinner. My special dinner was always either my mom's meatloaf or my mom's meatballs with mushroom gravy. And so that was just my thing. I love meatballs with white rice and crazy smother it with mushroom gravy. I like a little bit of meatballs. I like a lot of meatballs. Yeah. With my gravy. Pour it on.
Interesting.
And so with this vegan thing, how was I ever going to get meatballs and gravy again? So I can't do
Are
it.
are you eating vegan?
Yeah.
Have you been doing that for a while now? Okay.
I make exceptions. You're wondering why, because you see me eating all the cookies and all the ice cream I can get when we're at
Well, that's
CRA.
vegan, isn't it? Oh, no, I guess not.
No,
Yeah,
no, that's
I don't
the
understand
exception I
vegan,
make is I'm vegan-ish.
Yeah.
I eat vegan all that I can. Donuts, yes.
You're doing it for health reasons,
Ice
so
cream.
not because you're hippy-dippy
Right.
and want to save animals.
Right,
Bullshit.
right.
Yeah,
Right,
okay.
right,
All right,
right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. Come after me, PETA.
I'll help you
Fucking
find-
care. Yeah. Put me on the map. Fuck you, PETA. All right.
And so Tiffany figured out how to make vegan meatballs with this vegan rice and this vegan cream of mushroom soup.
Is rice not
of mushroom
vegan?
soup. There's rice that's not
Okay. Learning
by the
something new
book,
every day. Go on.
apparently,
Sorry.
right.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
And so now when I try, if I'm just gone for a week or two at a time, one of the reasons I take the 2 giant suitcases is wifey loads me up. Wifey gets these big glass Tupperware things and fills them up with the vegan meatballs and rice.
Wow.
Best meal on the planet. That would definitely be
Really?
my last meal would be wifey's vegan meatballs and rice.
Cool. Good answer.
Followed by all the, if I knew it was my last meal, all the crazy heavy cream ice cream I could find.
Right. Yeah. I'm wondering if ice cream would be mine.
Ice cream would certainly be part of mine.
Ice cream would certainly be part of mine.
part
Yeah.
of mine.
Yeah. Okay.
Or actually, if I knew it was my last one, one of the reasons I asked you, because I know that you like Perry's, we go to Perry's
Yeah.
every time we have CRA. One of the reasons I asked you about Perry's was because I know it. But if I knew it was my last meal and I wasn't worried about health anymore,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be worried about how sick that the Perry's pork chop would make me now. So I'd get the full dinner size.
I'm not going to lie. I don't love the pork chop.
Oh my God. What's wrong with you?
I like the pork chop.
I love the pork.
Yeah.
You don't put enough applesauce on it.
I did. I burnt myself. Were you there when I burnt myself on the fucking pork chop?
No.
I burnt myself and they had to go get me what'd they get me? Burn cream.
That must have been this last one when I couldn't make it.
No, it
because
was 2 ago.
Okay.
It wasn't the last one. It was 2 ago. And I literally touched the goddamn bone of the pork chop and it burned my finger and it bubbled up. And I looked at the guy and I'm like, what the fuck?
Right.
And like he ran back and got me burns like cream and shit.
That
like
is
super
insane.
nice. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I like the pork chop. I
Okay.
don't love the pork
Okay.
chop.
Okay.
I liked the tenderloin part of it.
Right.
I thought that was really good.
Right.
But I went back to the fish. So
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
But anyway, no, I do love Perry's.
Yeah.
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 Perry's was really good.
We're going to do something different tonight.
Yes, I'm glad that we are. I don't need rich.
Right.
Yeah, I don't
Right,
need
right,
rich.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So okay, is it your turn?
I think it's my
Okay,
turn.
it's your turn. All right.
Well, so I want to know, and I
yeah,
don't
go
need
ahead.
this,
No,
although if
fuck
these are-
them. Go ahead.
what do you attribute, and this is not the one I was saving for tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm still saving the one for
Okay.
tomorrow. So what do you attribute who you've become? And here's the basis of this question.
Okay.
Like me, over the last few years, there can be no doubt that you have become and are becoming the better and best version of yourself. Lifting up others, encouraging others, who you are, what you've got to give to share with the world. I know what I attribute that to. This is not for you to then turn it around on me.
For you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, what I attribute that to for me.
Got it.
Right. And so I want to know internally, is there something that you point to and say, this is what helped me lead myself to become this person, or what spurred you to that?
So
Those
I know
kind of
exactly
things.
when it started.
I think I know this part of the story, but I want to hear it.
Yep. So, and I've told this before, and we were talking about it 2 days ago when Stephen Pritchard was Stephen. You know Stephen,
Yeah, I know
right?
Steve, sure.
So Stephen drove up from Kansas City because he was consulting in Kansas City, and was like, "Hey, can I come up and play with you?"
Right,
And I was
right.
like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Let's do the podcast."
Stephen, if you're ever near Houston, although I'm not here much, call
Yeah,
me.
good point. Yeah. But so he came in and we did the podcast.
Oh, really?
2 days ago with Stephen, and we talked about this because Stephen and I met on that retreat.
At that retreat, right.
Right. That was
Right.
how we met, and he was working for his brother-in-law who owned a roofing company. And so it was 3 years ago.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that. I just always thought he was a Sam guy,
Nope.
a longtime friend. I
Nope.
met him through Sam, with Sam.
Yep. Nope. He started as he was a sales rep for his brother-in-law roofing company in Ohio, and he paid to be in the circle and to come to that first trip in Mexico. And Steven and I met on that trip, and we were like the only two like non-Mormon,
got it.
And crazy. Like we both had a past and, whatever. Like Steven's not as bad as I was. Like he was a good human compared to me. But we both had pasts, right?
Right.
And we kind of connected on that, but everybody kind of laughs because nobody understands how he and I are friends because he's so high energy all the fucking time, right? And I love it about him, but he and I have come to an understanding of like, when you're with me, you tone that the fuck down.
Dial it down.
A little bit, right? Like just because because those are the conversations I like to have with him. Like we have deep conversations.
Right.
Most people
don't. But you got to dial it down.
Most people don't know that like he has those kind of conversations. But anyway, that first trip, I had never done anything in my life that was personal growth wise, right? And on that trip, obviously there was a lot of things that I did. There was lists that I made. There was, exercises I did when I sat on the river for 12 hours and couldn't talk and all that shit, right? But when I look back now, that obviously started my personal...
That's the part that I want to dive into.
Yep. That started my personal growth journey, right? But the exercise that I did where I had to write down the people that I spent time with, now that you asked that question, looking back, I made that list. And so we had to make a list. Here was the exercise. And I did talk about this on an old podcast, but you make a list of everybody that you touch, right? In a month or in a week or whatever, right? And then you have to score them. And you have to score them of, are they below your level, at your level, or above
I vaguely remember
your level, right? Yeah. And so I went through it, and I had maybe one person above and maybe three at.
Well, not many at, right?
And everybody else was what I perceived as below. And I know that sounds...
but not in an arrogant, put down way. You just got to authentically do it. Yeah.
But I had to figure it out. And I really had to look at myself, and I was scared because I was like, I don't know how the fuck to get to those people. Like, that's intimidating. I didn't know what to do. And so what's funny is that one of the people that were on the list of at or higher than me at the time was Pate. I don't know if I told him this because I don't want him to know that.
He won't see it before tomorrow.
I know ever. I don't want him to know it ever. Because I don't want his fucking head to get that goddamn big. It's big enough. But like he was, I felt that he was more successful
at that time in your life.
At that time in my life, because just the things that he was doing, and you know what I mean. Like I saw him
and what he's stretching,
and the people that he was surrounding himself with, and blah blah blah. And then there was somebody else, and then I had Paul on that list, but I had just started spending time with Paul at the time. And when I came home from that trip, I literally was driving in my truck going out of town, like out of Omaha, just to go look at some commercial roofs, I think. And I started dialing everyone on my phone that I had on the list that was above and that I wanted to be on that above list. Right. That I felt comfortable enough to call. Cause like, I am not the ballsy guy that just calls people. Right. I'm just not. But I started doing it. And I made these weird, awkward asks of, hey, I want to hang out and spend some more time together. And some people were like, all right, weirdo, and then others were not. Right. Or I would just try to have longer conversations with them and try and ask them more questions or whatever. And would you break? Did you fucking break it, Phil? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah.
Okay.
But to the way that circles back to answer that question, though, is that all of the success that I'm having today and all of the successes that are getting ready to come here pretty fucking soon, they're all because of the fact that I took the time to surround myself. And that might have meant that I had to go buy a friend. You know what I mean? Like Steven was joking about that the other day, that he always tells Sammy, he goes, "You're the most expensive friend I ever had to buy." Was that Steven that said that? Yeah. Because like you had to, I mean, you have to buy access sometimes, right? But then if you're a genuine human, you actually become friends with those people, right? And I need to stop saying right. Fuck me, that's driving me crazy. I know, I need to stop doing that. 100% of my success that I'm having now or going to have moving forward is because I intentionally did that. And that was hard and uncomfortable. And I hate to say it, but like you have to fake it till you make it.
And don't you find that, because I have a similar story of a piece of that when I wanted to become the best trial lawyer in the history of insurance recovery group world, that I knew some greatest trial lawyers of our generation. And so, or any generation, and I would just contact them and kind of, can I come spend a day with you? Can I work on this case with you? Will you work on this case with me? And more times than not, it's surprising that the right people will welcome that. And they just say, yeah. And so when I get some of that now, it's like, ooh, I remember when I was doing that. So like you said, if you don't give back, you don't get to keep what you've got.
Right.
And we do what we can. You know, if I'm in trial 3 weeks in a row, I can't visit with you some random evening for 30 minutes about your case and what I would do.
Exactly.
But the people that are up there, more often than not, for me, I found, are willing to mentor you. So willing to spend the time.
It's the ones that have got there, right? But it's generally not the ones on the way.
Okay. That's probably right. Yeah, the two people I'm thinking of most.
Because they're so busy being on their way. You know what I mean? Like, that's a fast fucking train.
And see, I think that's what's going on with me. And I'm not trying to sound arrogant about it, but I'm on that train.
On the fast part of the train.
And I feel so self-conscious about, I get these notes, can I talk to you about this tonight? I get these calls.
I get the same thing, and I can't respond to
a witness.
Yeah,
can't do it.
Yeah,
I've got a judge sitting there and a jury in the box.
Right.
But yeah, so that I really appreciate that analogy. That makes me feel a little bit better about me.
No,
I'm on the train.
I feel the same way. Because I feel like I'm on the train because I'm not there yet. But but I'm fucking close. You know what I mean? Like I can see the goddamn station. I can see that. I was just going to say that. I can see the fucking station.
Is right there.
It's just we're not there. You know, and so it's hard to slow down sometimes because of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you have 50 people in your DMs going, "Hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? Can you help me with this?" Pretty soon it's like we're going to need to book time and consulting fees.
Right. Right. And it's that sort of situation that.
And that isn't to say that I don't want people texting me. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's not at all what I'm saying.
Right.
But it's just a matter of like there is only so much time in a day.
And it's like wifey, the people that she takes care of, the family and the friends that have become family that you take care of, when it gets to the point that you can't take care of yourself, then it's too much.
Right.
And so that's what we're struggling with now, in a healthy way struggling with, but it's the same way with our lives. If when we can't stay on the train and keep the train moving, there's only so much.
But again, here's the thing. At least we got a fucking train.
Train.
A lot of people don't have a goddamn train.
Boy, and that's what I keep coming, my messages the last couple of days have been get on your knees and be grateful.
Yep.
So many things that we think about, challenges, struggles. I try not to use the word problems because we become the stories we tell ourselves.
Yep.
That we're not dealing with such extreme personal health issues or extreme personal mental health issues.
Yeah.
We got a lot to do. We got a lot of people to take care of. Thank God that we're able to do it.
You could have none.
Right.
Yeah. That is something that I have to consciously keep in perspective a lot is having a gratitude list, you know, and somehow living in gratitude every day for something, because we can get so caught up in our bullshit and not realize and be like, you know what I mean? And then somebody comes by and they're like, oh no, yeah, real problems, live in a lake, pool, asshole. You know what I mean? Like, right. And it's like, well, that's just a thing.
Sucks to be you.
Right. But it's like, that's just a thing. That's a material. Who gives a shit?
They come with their own set
but
of
they
problems.
come with their own set of, everything comes with its own set of issues.
Challenges.
And what
There I go
challenges.
using the word problems. Right.
But I think that's a real thing. I think that I've loved your gratitude stuff lately because that's super close to me.
I try, you know, I also like there is no try. You either do or you don't.
Yeah.
I really try to start each morning with a little of that. I don't do it with the video every morning, but I try to realize there could be this going on.
I do hate the word try. Doesn't it make you angry when you say it?
Right.
Yeah.
But then there's some mornings that because the train is going so fast and goes so fast all day and so fast all night that I don't wake up and consciously make the list, write it down. You know, those are the best days. Or in the evening, write it down.
I do that on the plane a lot.
Yeah.
That's my plane time, is I'm very intentional about a gratitude list. Oh, by the way, on a side note.
We like side notes.
Side note, the book that you sent, me and Paul.
Yeah.
It's our book club book this month.
Nice.
So my entire office is reading it. Here's what I was not aware of. You can only buy that prick in hardback.
Right. Oh, so,
so I've got 20 of us. Like,
right. At $25 a pop.
Yeah.
Hardback.
I just thought it was
Amazon.
funny. Yeah. Because
Nice.
everybody's like, I can only find it in hardback. I'm like, well, if I can buy it. Like, yeah. But so we started it maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
That's great.
So I was saving it for that because I was like, I want them to read it with me.
Got it.
Because otherwise I read something and then I forget why I read it. Then I got to read it again and then I'm on to another book. And you know what I mean? And then at least I can take some notes, you know, and do it. But so that's what we do in our office, is that we read a book every month. And then I ask everybody on the team to take 1 to 2 things out of the book, just 1 or 2 lessons that they took out of it. And then they have to explain how they're going to apply it to either their personal life or their work life.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And it's fun. Like,
if any of that gets typed up or emailed around, please send it to me. Please have somebody send me something.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's fun though. Like they get a kick out of it. And then we try and do a little event, which we haven't done since you've been here. But we try to do like a little event for everybody that participates in the book deal. Right. And then we'll all get together and like spend time together and go to Top or go Store, do something stupid, right? Just have fun, bond or whatever. But that's a fun thing.
That's a nice side note.
Yeah. But anyway, that's the book that Phil gave me and Paul, because all we say is intentional. Like it's just ridiculous how much we say it.
That's awesome.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Who's next? What are we doing? You got another one?
I was going to talk about, well, that brings up a question that I want to ask you. I can point to 2 specific books when people say, what books help you? What books put you on that train? I can point to 2 specific books that are always my go-to. It's funny you mentioned that you read one and you go on to the next one. I went back to, because I started feeling, it was when Tiffany said, I think it was Monday. It's when Tiffany said, I know your work comes first. That's when, and you've got to go, you've got to travel, you've got to do this. And it just crushed me, baby.
It could have been rephrased.
But it could have been rephrased.
It could just be, I know how important your work is.
That you have to go so that you can keep the lights on and give us
because
the
that's
lifestyle.
Implying you're second. And that's not.
And you're not, Angel.
Right.
You're not.
Yeah.
But that sent me back to a couple of books that are my go-to all the time when people say, what books, personal development, whatever, what helps you? And so those 2 for me are Miracle Equation and No Plan B for Your A Game. Those are always my 2 go-to books. And so I went back to Miracle Equation.
Is Miracle Equation Hal Elrod?
Hal Elrod.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a spinoff of Miracle Morning?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Right. It was the sequel, but not the sequel,
but
his second book.
So I'm going to be honest here, because I saw him speak at D2D-Con.
Right.
And he was fantastic.
Yeah.
I refused to read his book because I didn't want to have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
But you can adapt.
I'm not kidding.
You can adapt.
Because everybody's like, yeah, we get up at 4:45. I'm like, you can go fuck yourself. I'm like, I'm not going to read the book because if I do, then I'm going to commit to doing it, and I'm going to be miserable because I don't like. I just told you I can't. If I don't sleep,
Right. That's it. That's right.
if I don't sleep, I look like this.
Wifey will tell you my alarm goes off 5:03 every day.
No, like I
whatever
can't.
time
Like
zone.
I need to adapt it to 7. And if we can adapt
Which
that,
you could,
okay.
which you could.
But I literally, I'm calling myself out. I refuse to read his book because of that.
So that was how I tracked down Sam and bought Sam as a friend. I was
Okay.
intentional about I've got to be friends with this guy because I started really following and loving and just drinking all the Hal Elrod Kool-Aid I
Yep.
could. And I saw where I just missed him. He had spoken at this D2D con thing.
Okay.
I'm like, what the hell is this D2D
Yeah.
con? I need door-to-door people for the work that I do. You know, what's that about? And
Right.
so, you know, long story short, tracked Sam and got real intentional about I'm going to be friends with this guy.
Yeah.
And a couple of conferences later, I'm friends with Sam.
Yeah.
And I've told him this story.
Yep.
And so that's kind of a Hal Elrod full circle deal. Yes.
That's cool.
And so pulling it back
Yep,
to
those
the
two
point of
books.
this, those
Yep.
two books,
Yep.
what are the 2 books for you?
Oh shit.
Or not 2 books, or what is it for you? Is there something for you? Is there a person? Is there a mantra? Is there a
For what?
book?
For what was the previous?
For is your go-to, if you need to ground yourself, if you need to come back to, I need to get back on track, or I'm a little off center, something of that nature. If someone says to you, what are the books that are your go-to that can help me because these are the ones that helped you from the jump? Like the books I got from you, which I haven't finished it yet, again, because I went back to Miracle Equation and that sort of thing, that leaders think like drug addicts or something like that.
That one's really
Those
good.
types of
Yeah, that
books.
one's really good.
What is there a thing that is your thing? If someone says, "Help me get on a," so is that how long we've gone, or is that how long we've got left? And you're probably hungry.
Well, no, it's not
Okay,
that. It's
yeah,
the batteries will die.
Oh,
Okay. All right.
okay.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
So that's a good question. To understand my answer, I just started reading again in the last year.
Okay.
Right? So me and Sam joke a lot actually about this because I would always make fun of everybody, or not make fun of, but like we would joke and make fun of me.
So my deal is
because I
mostly
would
audio.
read.
My deal is mostly audible.
See, and I can't do that because I won't listen.
Okay.
I won't retain it. Like I have to
buy
be.
all 3.
I have to be
buy
so
the Kindle,
focused. Right.
The hardback or the print copy and the audiobook.
I
and
have
they
to.
just
I
cycle
have
it
to
in.
read it.
Okay. You told me that once.
Yep. I
remember
have to
now.
read it, and I love reading. I just didn't do it for a long time, and I just started getting back into it in like the last year and a half, maybe 2 years. So I don't have the library of stuff, right? There's been a lot that have like affected me a lot.
Okay.
And that is, I honestly like probably Extreme Ownership affected me more than any other book so far that I've read.
That's a great trilogy. I get it. Okay.
It made me understand so much about how at the end of the day, everything still fucking resides here. Right. And I think that people forget that a lot. And I see it in the office a lot, or in other people's offices a lot, where everybody's blaming everybody else for some bullshit. And it's like, and literally no one takes ownership of anything.
The first time I read that book, anytime anything would come up
Yes.
with my senior partners, I would say, okay, that's on me. Okay, that's on me. Because I'm just owning shit that ain't mine.
That ain't yours. Right.
And they said to me, Phil, stop it.
it.
It's nobody's fault, man. We're all good. Let's
Right,
just
right.
take it and go.
Yes.
And so every time I hear someone talk about extreme ownership, I think about how I went too
far.
extreme.
Yes. Yeah. And if you read the next book, they talk about that.
Okay. And the next one is, it's that leader something.
Fuck, I don't
Okay,
know.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But they literally
I can
talk
see
about
it,
that.
The training manual
Yeah.
thing, the green one. It's got a green heart. I've got the books on my
Yep.
shelf.
Yep. They talk about it in the second one, though, that some people that read it went too far.
Okay.
And then didn't put the onus on their team when they fucked up. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but like, that's a big one. But the way I wanted to answer your question of, what do you do when you need to get grounded? Right. Because I think what's interesting is that like the things that have changed for me and you in the last 3 to 5 years, a lot of it's been exposure, right? A lot of it's been exposure, which is good. We're building brands and we're, doing all these things, which is going to give us more opportunity to meet people and help people and do all those other things, right? And hopefully make money, right? At some point, right? It's going to make money. It's going to help people. It's going to, whatever.
Keep the lights on.
But sometimes it gets, I don't want to say it gets too much or it gets too far, but there's moments where you can catch yourself focusing on it too much, and you have to reel yourself back in a little bit and go, ooh, was that ego? Did I do that because of ego? Or did I do it because I wanted to help somebody? I don't know. And I'll legitimately ask myself and be like, I don't know which one it was. And that's why I don't like to be gone for more than 3 or 4 days. Okay. Because if I go home and I sit down with my daughter, who is innocent, she's an asshole right now. Like, if you watch this later, honey, like, you're 6 years old and you're being a fucking asshole to everybody. But
except to daddy on Sundays.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I love you, sweetheart, but like, you have been an asshole to me and your mom here lately. Like, you are hard to deal with in the evenings. But if I go back and I spend that time with her, and it's so innocent and real, there's no ulterior motive other than, I love you, Dad. Right. And I want to spend time with you, and I just want to be with you. And you realize that's what fucking matters. Not any of the other bullshit. That's what fucking matters. And I only get a few more years of that before she's gone.
But you know what's crazy? Allie's 28.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but you let her get married. Like, fuck, I don't know how I do that.
Well, she's not married yet. I let her get engaged.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
Still.
She said yes.
Yeah.
But right after that, right, and that was a daddy between trials, flying to surprise her to Chicago, flying back to Florida to select another jury. I start getting notes from her. When can you come back and we have some daddy-daughter time again? We haven't had the daddy-daughter time lately.
Wow.
And you plant those seeds now when they're 6.
Right.
And when they're 28 and beyond.
They're still there.
All that still comes back to you.
Well, and I made her sign a contract.
Tell me about that.
Have you not seen the contract?
No.
Get a picture of it. It's on my wall.
Okay.
It was during COVID, and we were like sitting outside eating ice cream because I had to go to Dairy Queen because they wouldn't fucking let me in.
Right.
There's no one there, and I'm like, fine. And so we went through the drive-thru, got our ice cream, brought it home, and I remember looking at her, and I was like, so are we going to do this forever?
For the rest of your life,
and she's like, yeah. And I was like, you swear? And she's like, and literally, this was her response. She goes, I don't know what that means, but yes. And I was like,
Daddy's asking me, so yes.
And I was like, okay. And I'm like, well, will you sign a contract? And she's like, I don't know what that is, but yes.
But yes.
And so we literally got out crayons and a piece of paper, and I wrote out, I, Tegan Obremt, commit to having Daddy Boogie Day every Sunday for the rest. I've made it funny, like for the rest of forever, blah, 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 blah. And then I dated it.
Right.
And then I made her sign it.
Fantastic.
However,
in crayon,
however she could sign it.
Right.
And then I signed it. And then we framed it and we put it on my wall in my office. So when you walk into my office, it's right there.
I know, I've seen it. It just has a register.
That's
glorious.
So
that's glorious.
If you're watching this in 20 years, sweetheart.
Right.
I'm probably dead. But if you're watching it in 20 years, you committed to that. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. All right. What else? You got anything else you want to close with before we're done?
I don't really. I just am so grateful to you for coming here, for us having this time, and for being able to, I believe in my heart, I've said it for so long, I got it from Jim Rohn, that we are the product of the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with.
Yep.
And you got to try to make sure you spend time with those people that lift you up.
Yep.
And for you to be here, and it's a week in between trials that I'm here,
just worked out.
I'm just grateful to God that we got the time.
God moment. Yeah.
And so I guess the thing to close before you close us, and I get to say it for the last time, is that if I was going to have one thing to say at any time, particularly on your show, is that being at CRA, Armando Jaycox, because I used to always say, I'm nobody special. I'm just a kid from Gladewater, Texas, and blah, blah, blah. And he helped me understand, yes, you are special because you choose to be so. You're not any more special than anyone else can choose to do so. But when you're intentional, you make the choice.
Right.
Yes, you're special. Help others understand that and be that. And so that's what I think about us, honestly, is that we need to have this time together because we are intentional about being special, because we choose to do so, but not in an arrogant, unkind way, in a way that lifts each other up and in a way that anyone else can make the decision and just do the work. And
I love that. I love that. That's amazing.
That's what I close with.
Thank you, sir. Well, everybody, that was fun. I had a blast. I love having moments like this where we had no fucking plan. as of an hour ago, we had zero plan. And that I will say right now, that was as or more fun than our first time.
Yes. Probably more so.
It was just, this was just fun.
Right. This was brilliant, Lexi.
Yes.
These
that
were
was a great idea. And like, I had a lot of fun. Thank you for being on the show again. Thank you for taking us to dinner tonight. I'm excited to hang out and meet the wife. And so I'm going to do the first part and I'm going to let you close it. So as we close every episode, remember everybody, be authentic
or get the fuck out.
We lost, may lead to another win. I'm going up.